first order of business, the work session, is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any amendments or changes to the agenda?
I would like to make an amendment on 3 to add a B to talk about the bleachers.
You have the quotes for this.
Okay. Are there any other amendments?
Jessica.
I have them on my desk. I didn't know I was supposed to bring them.
Thank you.
I will go get them.
Okay, hearing none, we will adopt the agenda as amended. First order of business is the strategic plan, the second draft.
Perfect. The second, actually, it's like the fourth or fifth draft, and you'll see. So we're gonna I'll go briefly go over and I'll talk about the changes of the draft, and that's from feedback from you, from the staff. And so 2 weeks ago, we went in front of the staff, and at every building we presented the strategic plan that after the changes that you guys submitted to us, brought that to the staff, had some really great conversations. Then they filled out a survey. I'll show that to you here in a minute. And then we basically changed it on that. And so you'll see what it looks like. So if you can remember, right, here's our strategic plan draft, where it really has our mission, vision, oneness of values there. And then the pillars, those areas that are important, goal, the big goal on top, and the strategies to accomplish those goals after that. So there's Mr. Strong, this didn't change. Actually got some really good feedback on this part. I mean, and it was, we said, hey, this is what, based on this, everything that the survey, talking to parents, like, this is what's important to us. And I mean, it was almost unanimous. It was like, absolutely. Like, this is what we're about. This is what's important to us. So that was really, really good feedback on that. And so here is the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever draft we're on. And you'll see one of the main changes that from your guys' feedback is right here on top. And this is a huge kind of statement. It's leadership from the boardroom to the classroom, saying that these aren't just for the teachers, the students. This is really top down, that you guys are taking these goals on yourself as well. And when we meet on the 22nd, we'll be looking at this, creating goals. Like, what does this look like as far as the whole district and the community? And so, we put that on there, leadership from the boardroom to the classroom, to communicate to people that you guys want to be just as accountable as our teachers, as me, as our admin. And I think that was a really powerful statement telling teachers that, as they see this as, this is NISA. So really good feedback on that. So you'll see down here, the goals are all the same. So what we did, actually, let me pull this up. Yes?
The blue one isn't folded like the other ones are.
Oh, this one right here. Oh, excellent. Okay. Sorry. Just real quick. It is bold. It's just, but it's at 12 and a half instead of 13 like everything else.
Probably because it adjusted. So
Yeah, probably. Anyway.
It's okay.
So you'll see here what we have is we essentially got
Come sit on this side.
No, it's okay. So here's the survey that went out after we presented. Gina, myself, Miguel went around to all the buildings and we presented this to all staff. And they really took all of their strategies and they gave us their feedback, like which ones are more important to you, what are some areas of focus. And you'll see here in this one is, that's okay. So actually, this is the third time really getting feedback on it, and every time has been extremely consistent on what our staff, our community, you guys, everybody saw is most important. We put 2 asterisks on there, was the main strategy we need to be focusing on next year, was sustaining that positive culture and climate. That came in every single one of them. It was like, everybody's telling us, this is where we need to do our work, right? Not saying that we're really weak in it, but this is something we need to continue and improve. The next one is retain, maintain longevity of staff and low turnover and growing leadership. And then the strategies here was to increase community involvement, students' education, and then these are overwhelming, of everybody that. So we move these kind of around and put all of these at top, saying these are our main strategies we're going to be focusing on next year. Gina, Mr. Murray, or Mrs. White, Mr. Murray and myself have been working on what those building goals will look like to present to their staff, their community, and you guys that have these addressed. So, and you can see here, So if you see like here is that, this was kind of the key takeaways from those. I won't read these, but this is the information we use to say like, I mean, if you see like 93% was overwhelming, right? They got to pick 2 or 3 of them that are most important to you. 93% said maintaining, or the, maintain a positive student climate was there. So anyway, just to let you know, that was where we have all of those things at. And so so we adapted again. We're going to take this back to the strategic group after your feedback today, and then we'll hopefully have a final draft ready to come out. Yes. So, any thoughts on that?
Do you have anywhere in there from the employees about feedback from them to
As far as feedback to the board,
the board, to the administration?
I think that's kind of right here, improved communication and transparency between buildings, and I think that's where that was addressed on it. And so, but it wasn't explicitly said, like, how do we get feedback to the board and those things, that wasn't explicitly said, so.
But if the feedback's coming back to you, it should be, I mean, that would be the right flow, right? To do, and then.
Yep. And the opposite way, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Which I just want to make sure there was
Yes.
that type of thing.
Yep.
I'm curious on the 4th column, the gray one, the
Innovation and fiscal?
the one that's the kind of priority in that column.
Yeah.
Did anybody say what that looks like?
So that's auditing those systems and saying that there might be some things that we say, hey, you know, like we need to kind of go away to reinvest in this. And so it's not always about more, but about improving those things. And so that was their thing. It's like, we need to really look at our practices in that and say, this is still what we want to do.
I mean,
Right.
just being at that CTE ceremony, it seems like our programs are fairly successful.
Yeah, and that was part of it, especially as a high school. Maybe, you know, our programs are pretty successful, our kids are doing a really good job. Do we want to keep adding in and maybe watering that down because are we really serving the population we want to serve, right? And so anyway, so that was that question, because we could add all day, right? And but you know, where does it come from? Are we looking at youth science? Are we doing those things? And so no, that was and the high school was particularly interested in that. So, yep. Thank you. Good feedback. Anything else you guys can think of? And again, this goes into 3 different ones. I will say on this one, provide additional social emotional learning and training. Right? Remember we said this was in October. That was a question that they had about how to invest in their PD, and it wasn't as high on the list because I think they've been using it all year. They feel better. They've gotten training, and so it wasn't as high on the list. But I still think we take that as we look at that as advisory period, and then probably some other PD things that we're focusing on as well. So. Perfect. Anything else on that plan?
I was surprised to see improved student attendance at the bottom of the list.
And I think that's the one that, I mean, this is the only rank order one we have. The other one are just part of all of those things put together. And so it's not really ranked. This is the only one we wanted to make sure it was at the top because that is overwhelming a focus that everybody wants. And so it's definitely on there, just not in numerical order. So,
You know, Ryan, I had asked you about safety and security, and is that woven through all of this?
And that's absolutely, it's woven all the way through that. And that's what we got to think about, right? And even when we talked about our new app, the E3 app, right, that for emergencies, like we used it today for the first time, right? People are saying, hey, we're safe, you know, and we call it drill, right? That's part of innovation and fiscal. You know, I mean, just little things like that. So it's going to be sprinkled in there when we talk about improving student climate and culture. That's safety is a big part of that. We know that one of the buildings that was overwhelming from the kids, like, I don't feel safe. So that's got to be woven into that. So.
Okay, and that will also include some of the things that some of our kids need who are having mental problems and all of that.
Yep. So, and I mean, and those things are always, we wouldn't say that that's a huge focus of it, right? Like one of the big rocks. Obviously, it's something we're always going to be focusing on and finding better ways to meet the needs of those kids. But it's not going to be like this huge, big, building-driven one. So,
Because you tie in like the social, emotional, and the maintaining
Yeah.
positive culture, and that's gonna
it's in there.
proactive versus reactive, yeah.
Targeted support for
Targeted.
struggling students.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not explicitly said in there, but that's, I mean, obviously something we're gonna do. So, yep. I mean, I see it as one of our main focuses will be writing next year. Doesn't mean we stop teaching everything else, right? And so it's just gonna be more of the focus of our PD, K-12 alignment through that, so.
And it will include the security of our internet systems and
Yes.
all of that.
And so, and that's actually, Adam's been working really, really hard on that. And he just signed us up for what they do is they do like probes, if you will. So they'll try to attack our system, you know, find those things. And so we have those and some other things that we're upgrading and looking at. We're also looking at being extremely restrictive on our filter. We need a new filter, learned that this morning. But extremely restrictive on the access our kids get. And no longer, it's like, here's access, and when we find things, we shut it down with keywords. We're thinking about going the other direction and just saying, we shut it all down, except for learning or or teacher-driven ones, and then open it up one by one, right? So it's the exact opposite of that. Just things like that that we're working on as well. So. Really, really good feedback, by the way. Thank you. And Bobby will be here, just as you know, in June to kind of give us an update on some safety things that we're working on. So. Any other questions about the strategic plan and the draft and all that? I mean, and the promise at the beginning was, like, this is driven by feedback from all stakeholders, getting as much as possible to refine. And I think in the process, I mean, I know it seems like a long, you know, it's been a long, and you guys have been hearing about it, but it really is. And so I'm proud of the work of our committee and all of everybody giving us feedback.
Well, it's something you're going to have to continually refine.
Yep. And so our next step is, and again, you guys don't have to like also, you know, think about it and give me some, you know, email me if you have any other thoughts or call me. We do want to get something out to the community pretty soon and say, hey, that's what it looks like. And if you have any feedback, let us know. But so we're getting, you know, pretty dang close to where we are ready to present that.
Do we want to be rolling something out right now that says apply equity lens to support program people?
So as far as what we mean by equity lens, I think that's important too.
And we've discussed that a lot.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't bother me a whole lot. I'm just thinking about current funding issues, potential cuts, things tied to the word DEI, equity, etc.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a problem? Because there's other words we could use.
Yeah.
Besides equity.
And that's something that, you know, we could absolutely wordsmith that, but I think the intent is still there, right? Is we do look like how we're serving all students. And so I think that as long as the intent is still there and it's still a focus of the board, right? Like, you know, what do we need to do? I think that's okay. But we just can't lose the job that we're trying to do.
Right. All of us in here know what we mean by
Yeah.
that word at this point. But does anybody else?
That's probably
I-
at least, yeah.
I know we've got at least 1,700 people listening right now.
Probably, I think it's at 1650 right now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's-
Okay. But besides us and those
Yeah.
2.5 people,
And that has to be, maybe that's work that we have to get out, right? What does it mean to us? And making that stand, it's like, this is what it means to us. So, because it does, it means something different for everybody. And we've had a lot of talks as a board on what that means and what foundation we're standing on. So, yeah. Good feedback. Just get that written down. Thank you. So, perfect. Anything else on this? Again, it's not closed for feedback. We can always use more feedback, but if you think of anything else, and if you want, I can email this to you as well, so you can have more time to digest if you want.
I would like that.
Yeah. So, And this is my working copy, so I'll give you viewer rights of it all, so it'll be good.
Anyone else have questions for Ryan on that? Because after we get it in email form, Ryan, we'll go through it
Yep,
with
absolutely.
a red pen.
We're hoping. Or blue pen if you're, or green if you want smiley faces and stars, that works too. So, so are we ready to move on?
Yep.
Perfect. We're going to talk about stadium seating. This was part of the proposal of the turf when we looked at it. But the RFP for the project at the stadium was only for the turf, and we said we needed to come back and bring the bleachers for the visitor side, which really needs to be fixed, to you guys at a later time. And so we have 2 bids for it, and so I just want to present these to you guys to look at.
They're in packs, right?
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're gonna make it.
First one is NORPAC. The second one is at the playground. The people we're using to go through the playground right now.
Recreation today.
Recreation today, thank you. And you'll see that, and what we want to do is strike while the iron's hot, if you will. We know there's still an anticipation of prices going up, and so that's kind of where we're bringing it to you guys today, and we asked for that amendment because I think now is the right time, especially get everything ordered and be ready to go. So.
Are there specific changes between one and the other, or?
No, they're like, yep,
So why is $117,000 more than the other?
it's part of the bid. Yeah, so.
I mean, but if they're the same thing.
And that's part of 2 different companies, 2 different bids, right?
But there's not any company for the one you're going, hey, they offer this as part of the.
I was like, this is revolutionary. This one's doing ADA. This one's not. No. So they have essentially what we did was we told them, it has to be ADA compliant and it has to be this size. And what we tried to do is do the same size that we have now. And so.
I noticed, is there an extra added to NORPAC? The last page it says, will you add this amount rated from NORPAC? And it's like 58 to 63,000. So that's extra to the 77?
Yes, that was in my
Yeah.
mailbox this morning, and so I just made a copy and did what I was
Yep.
asked.
Yep.
So it
And
sounds like
attached
there's
it on
some
the-
confused there.
So.
It might be less, but it
So
might
is
be
it the
more.
58 plus the 71?
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's how I am understanding.
So it's way more expensive.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
gonna be
Sorry.
135, 500.
I didn't see that part to add on there, so I do apologize on that. So.
So it says installation, does that mean you get one of the old ones too, or what do we do?
Yeah. It's just installation. It doesn't have to do with getting rid of the other
So what are we
ones.
doing with the old ones?
We'd either scrap them, right? And right now, scrap metal's not worth anything.
I
But
was
so.
wondering, somebody, even like the rodeo, could take the metal part and just put new wood on, or
Yeah.
would somebody want them?
We'll absolutely make it available if they would like that. So.
For somebody,
Yeah. So, I would.
I'm sure someone wants them.
I'm sure somebody wants them, and so we would make that available if possible. Unless, like I said, unless scrap metal and those prices come up and it's worth it for us to go through that process, then we would do that to recuperate some of that cost. So, is it hot in here?
It's
No.
so
I apologize on that.
So there's 6 handicap
Yep.
spots, it's a ramp?
It's a ramp. Yep, it's a ramp up.
Because currently, it is a ramp on this side, but not on this side, that's ours.
Yeah, sure. I can't picture it right now. So yeah, on this side where the turns to this side.
The west
Yeah.
side, I guess is what that would be.
And when it says it excludes any concrete foundations or
Yeah, and we're not.
we're not.
No.
Where are these companies out of?
Recreation Today is out of Nampa, and NORPAC, which is out of Washington. But they, I think aren't these the guys who did our bleachers in here? Isn't NORPAC did our bleachers in here?
Yes,
So,
NORPAC did the bleachers in the high school.
Yep.
Yes.
So we.
They give us a discount for frequent.
It was until they emailed that last part. But yeah, so we have relationships with both companies. So
Boy, though, it just seems like something's wrong.
yeah, just
That, once you add in that additional, you're 45% more.
yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, something seems.
And I don't know if it's something to do that.
And they just called this morning and didn't explain it, they just said add this.
What is attached to the back is what I've gotten. I didn't.
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's higher than Oregon's. So,
Well,
yeah, so,
They're the same thing and one is 45,000
Oh,
more.
it does say, look, the cost is mobilizing, travel, and lodging, so they're charging for their people to come out and do it.
and do it, so,
Well, and the ones from Nampa won't.
yeah, they won't, so.
That's a lot of money for travel.
It's a lot of money for travel.
Where are they staying? Yeah, they're looking. Hotels, not hotels.
Yeah, yeah, well, and we can talk about it at the board, but I will let you guys, well, I'll let you guys know that, based on these two and talking to these guys, the recreation today, like I said, they've been really good with us at the elementary, would be my recommendation.
And would they
guys.
both be finished by football
Yep.
season?
So, and that's why we gotta do it now too, we wanna get it ordered and make sure everything's here,
And
so,
they're blue, you said?
Yeah. so. Blue and metal, it'll be good.
And this one actually becomes more expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're not
Assuming
staying
they
in
want
Motel
us.
6.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just mean, if we wanted it before football season, it's more expensive.
Yeah, and that's what, did you see that they had like the cheaper if you go down to November, December, and so,
Which makes sense, they're pushing to go less than season.
yep. And here's just an FYI, not a, this is just wanted to give you guys kind of one of the, also getting close to the final rendition. Got feedback from you guys on it, and I wanted to make sure that we put as much blue as possible on there, so as you can see, it mirrors the gym like we talked about. It has as much blue on there as possible. We were looking at outlining Oregon in blue, but we said, hey, you know, as much as we can get on there, so this actually meets kind of those requirements on it, so,
The track's not blue, so is it?
yeah.
It
Not
seems
yet.
to me like the map of Oregon needs to be bigger.
Bigger.
Yeah, it looks pretty small. Is that just me or does it look pretty small?
Why hasn't been by the bulldog, you already have this on one side and
And what we're trying to do, so remember, if you remember the Emmett Field, how big that E was, it's gonna be about that big, because we wanted to keep it inside that circle of the half, where the soccer is right there. And so, we tried to keep it within that, so it doesn't go outside of it, so you have this weird kind of break in there, because it would go black line, and then you have to either do a black line or a yellow line in it, and we've seen a lot of them with the yellow soccer lines, it kind of distracts from the whole thing, so.
So this would have lines for football and for soccer.
Yep, and that's it for right now.
Okay, but would we have marks so that our people don't have to run out there and, you know, mark where the rugby lines are going to be or where the flag football lines are going to be or something?
I don't know about that one, and so that would be something like, if we want to do rugby, we can. If you noticed, remember you saw in the Emmett ones, there was a couple like, look like little, like bushes come out, like it's a vastly different color. That's what you would do, is just, you put those marks in,
Oh.
if you want to do that. And you don't have to cut out a piece, you don't have to do anything, you can actually just sew that in there, so.
When they did their soil plots or whatever, what did they find out? I mean,
They actually, because theirs was on, and I think, if you guys remember, Mike talked about it a little bit, it was on an old feedlot, so they had to go way down to get get good dirt on there, and so they've been boring this, and it looks pretty good. They did hit the Arcadia drain, which was awesome, so it's like, out of the whole thing, that's where you got. Anyway, but it looks pretty good, and we should have our initial report really, really soon to see how
So
far
we don't
got.
have like a final estimate?
Not yet, no, so, but like I said, it wasn't reclaimed feedlot, it was not, and that's been there forever and ever and ever, so we're anticipating really good soil and everything for it, and drainage.
How deep goes the drain?
I don't know off the top of my head, yeah, but they found it.
There's been a question mark.
Yeah, and that goes all the way out, I mean, straight across there, all the way, I mean, the old Arcadia drain, if you guys remember, so, anyway.
How many bleachers are in the visitor section currently? Like how many seats?
I don't remember off the top of my head, I just remember we're getting the same like width and height on there, and I don't remember off the top of my head, so, that's what we just tried to do, same.
It's not in the Not quite.
Not quite, yeah.
It looks like there's more seats.
I think there are less seats, to be honest with you, because of the ADA entrances and that. I think there is less on it, but I couldn't give you a definitive answer on it. So, but it's really, really, really close. So. And I can email you guys tomorrow with, talk to Jesse and all those guys to make sure that we get that.
So when do we need to vote on the bleacher thing?
I'd like to do it tonight at the board meeting, that's why we would like to put it on the agenda if possible.
Or are you gonna put it on the agenda?
And then, so that would be that amendment that we talked about to make number 9, bleacher proposal. And so, we're hoping when the meeting
So
starts that
add
we
an
can,
E to it?
or just, no, just change, just go number 9,
And then-
bleacher, and then 9 becomes 10.
So somebody better make that. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, so when Mr. Mornock asked for that, if we could, if somebody could make that motion to change the agenda to do that, to get it on the
Sure,
agenda.
when we get
Okay.
to that,
When we get to that, so, thank
to
you.
the official, or resolution.
Perfect.
And that bid for the bleachers is within our,
Yep, it was already, remember the projection, money-wise, it was already added to that. So it's already a cost that we figured out.
And when are they starting the playground out here?
They're gonna start as like when the last day of school, and I'm gonna give an update in my superintendent's report today about that, but I mean, like June 1st, they're gonna be out there, but,
and you're giving us an update on the signs.
yep, so,
Already.
yeah, we are,
Right. Anything else on the work session?
oh, perfect. Thank you. Good session, thank you.
So we will
I don't want that in there.
recess from the work session
It's just the
into
basketball.
our regular session. We'll start at 7 o'clock, give